Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the Kitimat RCMP have a new weekly report. We look into a Northwest cricket ground opening, and there is an update on a big crane falling that was caused by a fire.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. Over the weekend, Kitimat's RCMP branch talked a bit about what they experienced during the first few days of the new month of August in an online report. One of the force's more notable experiences was managing to take a pair of impaired drivers off of the road, one of whom was discovered on a check stop on Dyke Road at 10:30 p.m. and failed a breathalyzer test. The other was found the next evening at 8:25 on an undisclosed road and failed in the same way, with both seeing their vehicles impounded, and both got 90-day driving prohibitions. The report also spoke about an event of theirs, the Healthy Kids Day at the River Lodge, that happened on August 11th at 1 o'clock p.m. The event had both tennis courts and a bike rodeo activity station available to help kids stay active. Continuing our Riverboat Days coverage, Damian Smith from CFTK has more on the official grand opening of a cricket ground in the Northwest.
It takes a lot of days, lot of months, couple of years to make that dream possible.
Saturday afternoon marked an influential day for the Terrace Thornhill community with the official opening of the first real cricket pitch in the Northwest. Chief Bennett and MP Taylor Backrack both made appearances as well, showing their appreciation for this growing sport in the Canadian market. It was also crucial for the community, as all the way from Prince Rupert to Chilliwack, there was just one cricket pitch, which was located in Prince George.
This game is the passion for the player. They can't stop playing cricket. Even if they get injured, even if they have to run on the uneven surface, they play. They bring their body on the line for the game because they love it.
So Kinder Greywall, who has been there since day one, has been the originator and the grassroots of the Northwest BC Cricket Association. And once he got in touch with Cam Siemens, it became that much easier to acquire players and to seek out a real pitch.
The best thing is Cam is also a big sports person. She understands very well what a player is, what a player need, and what's the player's value. And she made it possible for us. She tried her best to give out for the cricketers. And when she seen that we are very passionate, she decided that yes, you guys deserve to have a cricket pitch.
And the association is looking to create opportunities for the youth and for women as well, led by head coach Steve Hawes.
We've got programs designed to teach skills, build confidence, and foster a game for the game for cricket that we all love so much. For instance, pitch symbolizes more than just a place to play cricket. It's a step forward for our community, a place where everyone is welcome, where we can all come together and share in the joy of this community.
I just want to thank the people of Terrace for watching us, because when we play in the parking lot, they usually watch out of the boundaries. They love to see us when we are pushing our body, when we are hitting the ball, or when we are enjoying the game. They enjoyed with us. So I just want to thank you, each and every person of the Terrace, for being with us.
From Terrace, I'm Damian Smith.
Even as the Saugatuck National Government said they spotted cracks near a massive landslide that blocked the river for days before a breach shed torrents of water and debris downstream, the Caribou Regional District allowed some people to go home. The district rescinded the evacuation order from July 31st and replaced it with a smaller order area. It said those not in the new order area can return home, but warned them that the landslide and river assessment is still ongoing. The bridge at Farewell Canyon on Highway 20 south of Williams Lake got closed due to concerns for public safety after the First Nation reported the cracks. Coming up next is a story of a man's escape from the fires in Jasper to BC. Welcome back. A man who managed to escape the fire that has pretty much consumed a lot of Jasper at this point is attempting to make his new home in BC and start over after suffering the loss of his previous living space. Yvonne Raymond has more of the details.
A former volunteer firefighter in Comox is trying to make the island home again after fleeing the Jasper wildfire that swallowed his family property.
It was security. Anytime things got too rough in the world, could always go home. And for the first time in my life, I don't have that anymore.
The wait to return to the Alberta town is nearing an end for the evacuees.
We're going to do everything we can to help the people to rebuild.
The re-entry plan starts August 16th, but Terry Lonsberry says he won't be among them.
There's nothing to go back to for me.
A decision to winter on the island to alleviate the symptoms of health issues that have put him out of work has turned permanent. If only his newly bought used getaway truck didn't break down pulling an RV.
You know, thought I'd have a couple of months to get everything ready to go before I left, and Mother Nature and the fire changed that, and I had to jump in it and run like everybody else.
Today, he's not doing it alone. His old fire rescue team in Comox is among those rushing in to help.
Some of our members got together and we said, how can we best help Terry? So some of our firefighters have provided him some funds, and then we decided we would try the GoFundMe route to enhance that.
It's the most amazing team. It's like family.
You know, we're really feeling for him and hoping that he can stitch everything back together and come out with some form of a decent life when this is over.
Terry says he has hope.
The compassion of people that have been helping is just, it's been overwhelming.
He's grateful at the halfway mark of paying a bill that'll get him on the move again. Yvonne Raymond, CTV News, Victoria.
Over the weekend, Terrace happened to be home to quite the sight of the night sky after the Riverboat Days Festival drone show ended, but they were not the only area in BC to experience such a visual at that time. CTV's Martin McMahon reports.
Some of the pictures of the northern lights from Vancouver Island over the weekend are breathtaking, and this shot from the North Shuswap managed to capture a part of the meteor shower and the northern lights all in one go.
Any auroral event in Vancouver is extremely rare. Any auroral event close to the 49th here is relatively rare. To have a double header is the rarest of rare, shall we say.
Unfortunately, many parts of Metro Vancouver had cloud that disrupted getting much of a clear view. But this shot from White Rock shows there were areas locally that got a great look.
It's basically like a big burp coming from the sun, where you have magnetic field lines that are breaking and they're spewing out charged particles into space. Now, when they interact with Earth's atmosphere, its magnetosphere and then its atmosphere, that causes kind of all these pretty lights in the sky. So it's basically the charged particles kind of doing a dance up in the sky.
The show over the last few days brought up memories of that great display of Aurora Borealis we got in May, which was visible in Vancouver.
It hit G4 level this morning, which is a notch down from what we had in May, which was really the once-in-a-lifetime event for Vancouverites. So yeah, if you were on a ferry last night, people got to see it, certainly just across the border. And I believe it went down as far south as maybe Colorado for naked eye visibility.
And over the next couple of nights, there's a chance you might be able to catch some of the meteor shower, but you might have to venture out a bit.
So if you can get further away from the city or maybe somewhere where it's not going to be cloudy, that would be ideal. But unfortunately, if it is cloudy, that is going to potentially pose a bit of a problem.
And if you are trying to catch part of the meteor shower, experts say you should get to your viewing spot half an hour before to let your eyes adjust. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Up next is an update on the extensive damage that was caused by a fire that ripped through an under-construction 6-story building in Vancouver's Dunbar neighborhood last week and led to a crane toppling over. Isabella Zavarisi now has more on the situation.
And all it is a shambles right now, and you can barely see the crane.
Grace Wuschke was making dinner last Tuesday when a fire tore through an apartment building under construction, just a few feet from her home. Before evacuating, she noticed her neighbor's pickup truck parked outside.
I go over to a fireman and I tell him, you know, this is our neighbor's pickup. He's got to be in the house.
A crane from the construction site had crashed onto her neighbor's house, narrowly missing him. Fire crews moved quickly, eventually rescuing the man from his bathroom.
There was so much noise with the sirens and the roar of the fire that he could have been screaming his head off I wouldn't have heard him at all.
Nearly a week later, and water is still spraying from what's left of his home.
And that scary moment, and that most of us will never have to live through that.
The city is now working to restore the area, but it's going to take time.
Given this is far from a routine operation, right? It is going to be a demolition operation, not a salvage operation.
The city says it will likely be 3 weeks until 41st Avenue reopens. Not ideal for students returning to school or businesses.
My sales since the fire started is dropped. It's completely dropped.
I'm just hoping, we can work through it. I don't know. I don't know what to expect going forward.
Business owners tell CTV News they've had little communication from the city.
We're working hard to get this returned to normal as quickly as we can, safely.
There's still no word on what caused the fire. And while at least 2 homes were destroyed, thankfully no one was injured.
Things can be replaced. Lives can't.
Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast should end up seeing periods of drizzle and a low of 12 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area will more than likely end up being partly cloudy with their low at 13 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is expected to have clear skies plus a low of 5 degrees. On the North Coast, the upcoming week shall be composed of rain at the start but gradually get sunnier along the way and see its high shift from 18 to 19 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the week for them will instead have sun at the start, see clouds creep in for a few days, then go back to sun before having a little bit of cloud again, and the high should bounce between 20 and 26 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, the next week or so will go back and forth between purely sunny days and mixed sunny and cloudy days, and the high is likely to move from 23 to 26 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is a special travel advisory, pavement patching, utility work, limited visibility, bridge maintenance, construction work, crack sealing, mowing, and the Usk Ferry is currently out of service due to the low river level. Highway 118 has some bridge construction, Highway 37 has some maintenance, and Highway 37A has some maintenance too. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the View of the Province's highway cams. Still to come, a retirement ceremony was held for a big BC water bomber recently. Welcome back. BC was recently the host for a big-time retirement party, but this time it wasn't for a person. Instead, a massive and recognizable water bomber took one more flight before it settles into its new role as a museum piece. CTV's Brendan Strain has more.
It was a retirement party like no other, seen by tens of thousands of people. That's the roar of BC's iconic Hawaii Martin Mars water bomber, singing its swan song over the Victoria International Airport last night, flanked by 9 Canadian snowbirds.
What an experience. It's beyond anybody's wildest dreams.
Peter Killen was one of 2 pilots behind the controls, as the plane flew from Port Alberni north to Campbell River, then south along the east coast of the island to the capital region.
My whole idea of going the route I did was for the airplane to be seen by the people that supported it, all the pulp mills, paper mills, the loggers.
Originally, the Martin Mars was built in the United States to be used as a patrol bomber during World War II. Around 1955, the planes were to be scrapped, and a consortium of logging companies in BC purchased 4 of the planes, then converted them into water bombers to fight wildfires. Coulson Aviation in Port Alberni purchased 2 of the planes in 2007 and used them until they were retired in 2015.
In a bad time when fires are burning, they depended a lot on this airplane.
For Wayne Colson, it was a bittersweet day.
It's the end of one chapter, it's the start of another for all our rest of our airplanes, and everything that we learned with this airplane is with our existing fleet now, so it's never the end, it's just the start, so that's how we've looked at it.
The easy part is over.
Last night's show was only the beginning of getting the water bomber to its new forever home at the BC Aviation Museum. Over the next few days, the plane will be outfitted with beaching gear and brought up a very narrow slipway onto land.
We're calling it Mars Yoga.
It will then be towed from the Coast Guard base across West Saanich Road, up the runway of the Victoria International Airport to its permanent home here at the museum.
Moving lamp posts, power lines, taking down fences.
A huge amount of logistics that the museum hopes to accomplish by mid next week.
People are coming out of the woodwork saying, I can help, here are my resources, I can help. And we're very, very grateful to them.
The museum hopes to have the plane open to the public by the end of September. Brendan Strain, CTV News, North Saanich.
Vancouver recently saw a bit of animal-on-animal violence that no one ever wants to see, and a warning, the content of the story might be disturbing to some. Ben Bilger now with more.
Dozens of people witnessed the attack. This large, muscular dog mauled and killed Sky, a 5-pound, 3-year-old Maltipoo. In the aftermath, some bystanders briefly followed a woman as she quickly led the large dog away. 1 week later, and that woman still has not come forward. Sky's family has now set up a Facebook page hoping for public tips to help track her down.
Regardless if she was the owner, if she was just a caretaker, to turn yourself in. I think it was a big coward move to just run.
City of Vancouver Animal Services is leading the investigation with assistance from Vancouver Police. Witnesses say the larger dog was unleashed near Second Beach, an on-leash area.
Underlying all of this, as I say, is responsible dog ownership. To have a dog means that the person and the dog need to be in sync. The person needs to be able to control their dog.
Animal law expert Victoria Schroff says if the dog is identified, it will be up to a judge to decide if it should be deemed a dangerous animal and potentially put down.
Punk, shake, shake, good boy.
That's what ultimately happened to Punky, an Australian cattle dog who bit a stranger. Punky spent years on doggy death row while his owner appealed a decision that he be destroyed. In the end, the Supreme Court of Canada declined to hear the final appeal, and Punky was put down. Punky's owner took part in the investigation from the start.
When animal control got in touch with her, she complied. And in this case, we have somebody who's not been there, and that's the salient factor in this case involving Sky.
Schroff says the fact this woman has not yet come forward to take responsibility could be an aggravating factor if the case winds up in court. Ben Bilger, CTV News, Vancouver.
And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is up 8/100ths of a cent. The price of gold is up $3.80. Oil is down $1.71. Natural gas is down 4 cents. Aluminum is up $4. In Toronto, the TSX is up 219.25 points. The Venture Index is up 5.01. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 408.63 and Nasdaq is up 407. Still ahead is a profile about a very unwelcome surprise for a condo owner. Welcome back. Now for a profile on a condo-owning woman who got the kind of surprise that no person is ever looking to get, mainly because it would put most in a serious financial hole. CTV's Pat Ford has more of the details.
The 2 condominium buildings that make up Guildwood Terrace in Scarborough are currently undergoing a major renovation. All the windows on the 33-year-old buildings are being replaced.
So all of these windows have to be replaced, and the ones in the kitchen.
Bonnie Jones bought a unit here 5 years ago. Her maintenance fees are about $1,000 a month, which is why she was shocked to be told she would have to pay a special assessment of $40,000 to replace her windows. Did you know anything about special assessments that this could happen?
No, I had no idea.
Some windows in the building have been leaking for years. The board said it had various meetings with owners and paid for an engineering study which recommended replacing all the windows at once. The board told CTV News it followed the recommended process, warned owners 3 years ago repairs were needed, and gave them payment options. But Jones says she fell ill, had to take sick leave, and was behind on her payments. With interest and legal fees, she now owes $74,000.
I have until next week to pay them this $40,000 plus all of the fees and interest, or they're going to sell my property.
The unfortunate thing is we should have seen the writing on the wall.
John Juffs, a condo expert who has researched reserve funds, says many older condos will start needing repairs. Reasons for special assessments include replacing roofs, exterior glass walls, balconies, foundations, and parking garages. Condo boards are reluctant to raise monthly maintenance fees, which means special assessments may be needed, but Juff says owners should have many options before being forced to sell.
In my mind, there's no good reason to be ousting a homeowner, just for the cost of repairing a building.
Jones is worried her unit will be sold to collect the money owed, even though her windows don't leak and are not scheduled to be replaced this year.
I'm scared. I'm worried. What am I going to do? I can't come up with that money.
After Jones reached out to CTV News, she says she's been able to make arrangements to pay a portion of the money owed and now hopes to work with her building to pay the remaining amount in the future so she can stay in her condo. Pat Foran, CTV News.
An infant development professional with almost a decade or so of experience working at the Fraser Valley Child Development Center has been nominated by the NDP to run in Abbotsford South. Sarah Cooners said that BC's healthcare system needs to invest in building more hospitals, hiring more workers, as well as training more doctors and nurses. Premier David Eby said in a statement of his own that Cooner dedicated her career to helping children, and she understands how crucial support and services can help families build a better life. Cooner will join Eby and 91 other candidates in the upcoming fall provincial election. BC's Maritime Employers Association says it will take more days with the Canada Industrial Relations Board to sort out a dispute with the warehouse union Local 514. The association alleges bad faith bargaining, while the union has said it doesn't want to take an industry-wide strike vote when its issue is with just one employer over automation. A statement from the association says hearings with the Industrial Relations Board are over, but additional hearing dates are required and both sides have a case management call this week. The statement says neither side has issued 72-hour notice of strike or lockout, nor have there been any labor disruptions. Police have issued a warning about a new scam where victims are tricked into providing personal information by calling a fraudulent BC Hydro phone number. RCMP said there have been more than 100 reports about fake online advertisements urging customers to call and set up new electricity services. They say the ads direct people to a false website with a phone number where scammers ask the caller the same set of questions that legitimate staff with the Provincial Crown Utility themselves use to verify customers' identity. The Mounties say they are working with the utility to have the fraudulent sites removed from search engines, but they're also asking the public to be careful and report any issues to their local police department. That is all of our news for now. From all of us here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Cale Maslin, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.